Caleb Dangerous Spock writes, when do you think a filmmaker realizes he or she is making a bad film?
Ooh, that's a great question.
That is a really, really great question.
I think sometimes they know before the film is even being made. I think there's such a collaborative effort that you would hope that they believe in the movie they're making all the way through. But sometimes I think if you're talking by filmmaker, you mean director, then a lot of things are out of the director's hands sometimes. You know, a lot of it's up to the producer. Sometimes the producer will say, you can't spend money on this anymore. Sorry, we don't have any more money for an extra camera. We don't have any more money for this actor. You have to do something else. So a lot of it is compromising vision. So there might come a time where a director is too deep in it to step out, you know, and he's or she's got to deal with producers. And
I had lunch with someone who remained nameless, but a friend of mine who's a filmmaker and has made some films that all of you have seen, and who has made a couple of bad ones. And you know who I'm talking about. And you know, it's funny because I think, in talking with him before, you know, you go through this filmmaking process and it's like, you get so sold into the idea of a film that you are making because it's your story and you've got a vision in your head. And I think for a lot of these directors, sometimes it's not until you almost get close to the final cut. When you get close to you know, wrapping the film and saying, that's the final edit, we've locked the film, you then sit back and watch it with some people and go, well, maybe this didn't work out the way I wanted to. But I think if you're a really invested filmmaker, you go through that film thinking, this is pretty good. Maybe actors know. Maybe the cinematographer knows earlier on. Maybe some of the script people know earlier on. But I think for the director, it's a more difficult thing to realize this one didn't work until later in the process. So I don't know, Dennis, as a film school grad, like, how do you see it?
I think a lot of times people have feelings, like directors, actors, and cinematographers. They have the feeling that the movie's not working or they don't think it's good. But I don't think you can really, really tell until you get to the editing process. Then you start putting the scenes together, and you're like, wow, that was...
you see, like, you didn't shoot, there's something you should have shot that you didn't shoot, or you covered a scene wrong, like the cameras were too close or they were too far. You know, like, there's so many moving parts. I'm amazed that movies ever come out good sometimes. Like, there's so many ways it could go wrong.
Yeah, I think in the editing process, though, that's kind of when you really get that, okay, this is something great or this is something terrible.
So what do you do when you get to that point?
And that's the thing, is like, it's so far along in the process. That's why people always ask, like, oh, why don't people just stop making bad movies? Well, they don't know they're making bad movie until it's like already said and done. All the money has been spent. They all have the marketing in place and everything, and it's kind of too late.
To Mary's point, though, I mean, we do say this all the time. I think people underestimate how difficult, how monumentally, astronomically, Olympian of a difficult task it is to make a good film. There are 5 million things that can go wrong. It is the easiest thing in the world to make a bad film.
And it all falls on the director. And it's not always the director's fault. It's often not the
They are the ones in the chair. I will always say they're the ones primary. Okay, let's take 2 more really quick.
All right, Russell Crowe writes, what is your opinion of Bay becoming the second highest grossing director after Spielberg?
It is what it is. I mean, he's made movies that have made tons and tons of money. But as we always say on the show, box office is not a reflection of quality. It's just not. I mean, some of the best films of all time never did great at the box office, and some of the worst films of all time make huge bank. Transformers 4 is a great example of that. So really, I mean, it's interesting, it's not surprising, but it really ultimately it means nothing as far as, you know, the quality of a director that he is. So I mean, now you take out the Transformers films. Remember, part of this is just luck that they handed the Transformers franchise to Michael Bay. That's kind of lucky on his part, because you take out the Transformers and then you average out the money that each one of his films make, then you're not anywhere near the amount of money that he gets. But he got handed one of the richest properties you can be handed, and it turned out that way. You know, and I've been a Michael Bay defender. Like, I'm not a Michael Bay hater. I'm not. I've hated the last 3 Transformers movies, but I've also got a number of Michael Bay films I really enjoy. And I even thought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie worked out okay, even though he was just a producer on that. But yeah, nothing really. It's a non-issue to me. Do you guys see it any different?
Yeah, I don't have any. Sorry, I don't have any emotional connection to it. I mean, I think, like you said, there's a lot of reasons why people go see movies, and you know, quality isn't always necessarily what it is. Sometimes they just want the spectacle. They just want to see machines battling each other, and you know, so be it. Happy.
All right, last question of the day.
Rashad H. writes, do you think we might possibly see a Superman / Wonder Woman / Lois Lane love triangle in Batman vs. Superman?
It's certainly possible. I'd be intrigued by it. I mean, in the comics, in several elsewhere, and even now, New 52 and whatever, there are romantic things going on with Superman and Wonder Woman. It makes sense. I mean, Superman is the most powerful being around, and the closest person who could have, relate at all to him and what he goes through on a daily basis and his experiences would probably be Wonder Woman. It doesn't hurt that she's hot and he's like the hottest guy in the universe and all that kind of, sure, why not? It's the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie of the comic book world. Let it go. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. There were early rumors that there might be a Wonder Woman Batman romance. I also have a hard time seeing that at this point. Hey, look, it's absolutely possible. I would bet on there being no love interest thing going on between any of those primary three.
Well, Lois Lane and Superman, I mean, in Man of Steel, they definitely kind of subtly hint that there might in the future, because he comes and rescues her in that ice cave or whatever. You remember that part in Man of Steel? When Superman rescues her. So there is a little bit of an attraction there.
Oh no, they flat out, by the end of the film, they're flat out making out.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah,
so
it's not so subtle.
Yeah, exactly. It's not so subtle. So I feel like, certainly that might be explored, but I don't know about Wonder Woman. We'll see.
Yeah, with Lois Lane, but I don't know about Wonder Woman.
Like a triangle. I don't know about a triangle.
I can see it happening. I can see them just to put like a little jealousy in Lois Lane, and maybe just have Wonder Woman flirt with Superman alone.
She is Wonder Woman. I mean, Lois Lane's great and everything, but...
The interesting thing here, we're getting into sweaty nerd territory now, but the interesting thing here too, that as a character study of Wonder Woman, is that, like, it depends on whose Wonder Woman you're talking about, like which writer's incarnation of Wonder Woman you're talking about. But, Wonder Woman comes from, a race of people that men are pretty much useless.
Yep.
And the root cause of everything that is wrong in the world.
Yeah, she's an Amazon.
And there is no man who is the equal of Diana. There is no man who is her equal. But now suddenly you come across an individual in Superman who is noble and intelligent and more powerful than she is. That presents there's an interesting story to be told there,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
I'm in. You just sold me on it. You should be in the pitch room. That was good.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.